Hi everyone, it's Alan Thornton here, President and CEO of St. John's Community Services, and it's great to be back. And today my guest is Precious Myers-Brown, our Chief Innovation Officer for St. John's Community Services. Really good to see you, Precious. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Awesome, and it's been great. I should definitely note that the last time we did an interview together, we were talking about Tony's recovery from COVID. And he is still doing well. You reported just a second ago that he was back to work. So things are going well for Tony and for yourself, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And he definitely has been sleeping bedside with that Captain America shield that you gave him.
He earned it, so he definitely deserves it. So Precious, your title, Chief Innovation Officer. When you think of innovation, you know, for people to get their head around that kind of a title, what comes to mind for you? What do you envision it being?
Yeah, definitely a glass breaker, a wall knocker downer. I take the hammer to anything that's boxed in and find the most creative, innovative way to meet whatever it is the need is, in what I would say a cool fashion. You know, one of the things that I like to self-title myself as a dream officer. So what your dream is my dream. I don't dream for you. I don't dream at you. I dream with you. So if you want to do, or if the company wants to do, we're going to find a way to get it done, but in a very cool way.
And so what you're touching on there, so I've been with St. John's for 2.5 years. You've been with St. John's, I think I want to say 18 years.
You're correct.
And like, so part of what attracts me to St. John's on a daily basis is how we approach as an organization the people that we support. And it's not this paternalistic kind of, we know what's best for you, you've got to do A, B, and C. It's really holistic and it's really person-centered. And if you don't necessarily work in the field of intellectual and developmental disabilities, you might not fully understand person-centered. So why don't you take a second and explain from your perspective what that means? Because it ties in directly to what you just shared.
Yeah, you know, I always say to myself, like, I needed some person-centered planning. I wish I had some to help me out. But really what it is meeting the person where they are and then helping them to define or communicate in some way where they would like to see themselves. And that is the dream. And so what we do is we come in, mash it up with some passion, and try to find a way to make those dreams possible or get as close to it as you possibly can. So we're not defining for the person how far you can go. We're not defining where you can go. What we're doing is listening to those dreams and then passionately finding a way to make it happen for that person. That's the basis of person-centered planning. You know, you start where the person is, listen, watch. For some people, it's listening because they have verbal communication. Some people, it's watching because they have physical communication. Whatever it is that they're able, you're looking for anything that shows excitement, and then finding a way to get that into that person's life so they feel like they're meeting their personal mission and dreams. And that leads to just personal satisfaction and, you know, and self-esteem. And, you know, just makes them feel like a well-rounded person, the same as anyone else in society.
So there's a lot there. Can you give some examples, either big or small, of where your team and where St. John's has helped make those dreams come true? Like, what have been some of those dreams for individuals and how have we played a role?
Oh, it's so simple. So, I mean, for us, it's simple, right? But there are so many dreams and we don't always celebrate them. And that's another, you know, sad thing because it's just a part of what we do every day. But, you know, I come to think of a person that we used to serve, and he was, you know, just really adamant about, you know, being in aviation. And, you know, and if you looked at him, if the average person might look at him, they might think this is not possible for him to, you know, be in aviation. And one of the activities that we were able, for us, is like, well, let's make it happen. So not only were we able to explore a volunteer opportunity at one of the airports, we were also able to develop a community partnership where he can be a part of an aviation club.
Cool.
And he was also able to join, and they hooked him up. They gave him the flight suit and everything. He was able to eventually start working at an airport where he can get, because he loved to just basically see the planes go as up and down, up and down, up and down all day. So to be in that kind of environment, and for him, that meant that he was closer to that dream. You couldn't tell him that he wasn't a part of the aviation world. He spoke the language, he wore the outfit, he was in the environment, and he developed natural supports in that circle of aviation that he would not have had if we just thought, you're not going to be able to fly a plane. You're not going to be. But I'll tell you, the first time that he ever took a flight, I just happened to be present. And I could not stop smiling the entire flight because he was, everything was coming in. Everything was coming in. And the smile on his face. And then after we landed, he was shaking everyone's hand that was getting off of the aircraft and super excited. He was like, as if he flew the plane. Thank you for flying. Thank you for flying. Thank you for flying. And it was fantastic. But his dream was actualized by person-centered planning.
That's awesome. I mean, and where some organizations or people would see barriers, like you said, you in St. John's, you see opportunity. And
yeah.
And another area, that's a really amazing story. And actually, I connect with that because you know this about me. I like to get out of the water as much as I can. I took up boating in the last year and really enjoy it. And so I go out on the Potomac, and I was actually out there yesterday afternoon. And one of my favorite things is by DCA, by National Airport, watching the planes land and take off. So I could totally connect with that. I could watch that all day and just find a lot of satisfaction in that. You are leading the effort for St. John's, not just on making dreams happen for the people that we're supporting, but in leveraging what we call enabling or assistive technology in trying to do that as well. And so that's a new world at some level. I think a lot of people are getting more familiar with smart homes and smart devices. But can you explain a little bit how you're approaching it and why? Because it goes beyond just convenience, right? I feel like it's way beyond convenience in terms of a call to action and a cause for you that we really leverage technology. It goes beyond convenience and goes beyond efficiency. So if you would explain kind of what motivates you to try to make this technology as available as possible to those that we're supporting.
Yeah, thank you. This is definitely near and dear to my heart, and the why is what's more important. Technology is convenient for everybody. We're all using it. We're using it right now, and it's convenient. It allows us to continue to do our day as we've been doing our day. But for us, it's almost like second nature. We don't have to really think about it, But for the people that we support, whether that is someone with an intellectual disability, someone who is experiencing homelessness, someone that's in elder care services, doesn't matter. These are folks that are normally left out of the wave, if you will. Whenever society ups itself, we often forget about this group of folks who would maybe be marginalized in some communities, and they're often left out of that curve. So therefore, they never stay pace with society. And for us at St. John's, we believe that regardless of your circumstances, you have the right and opportunity to live your best life. And for us, that right and opportunity is where we live. So we make sure to protect those rights, help them advocate for those rights, and be able to, use them so that they gain a level of independence, self-assurance, execute privacy within their life, as well as stay connected to society. So while technology may be convenient for you and I to help us do things that we're perfectly capable of doing without the technology, technology for people who would be otherwise marginalized or are currently marginalized makes their life even possible. So for them, giving them some device to help, and probably a series of devices, because it's not just about a one device and you solve somebody's problem. That never happens. That doesn't even happen for us technically. But putting together a system of technologies and methodologies that would circle around every need that the person has, so that in a 24-hour day, they can do it as independent as possible. What does that mean for them? That means that they are keeping in pace with society. That means they are living with instead of without. That means they're able to get their needs met as independent as possible without necessarily having to ask somebody for permission to do the things that you and I do without even thinking. We don't even think that we have to ask for permission to grocery shop. Someone who has been given a tool and has learned how to do grocery shopping by way of technology no longer has to ask. I decide I need some bread, I'm clicking, I'm ordering, it's coming to me. Things like that, where they have now been given, you have taken control and now given it back to the person. And that is more meaningful than any tangible thing I can produce or give to somebody. The fact that they now have control over their own lives means everything for creating best life possible.
So you've said a lot there, and it's at the heart of our mission of advancing inclusive communities. And so we are trying to help advocate and include the people that we support in all aspects of our community, and leveraging technology to do so. I've heard you talk about this, and I think the point can be lost for people. You're touching on the value of independence. So in order for a person to be able to really experience their best life, you've talked about, for a person that might have an intellectual or developmental disability, that it's possible that they have had their entire life somebody making decisions for them. A well-intentioned person, a caregiver of sorts, but still somebody making decisions for them. And then at the same time, when you've been able to introduce technology, like you said, you've handed control to the individual, and now it can get a little disruptive, like, because now they're making decisions about what they want to do and when. If you would kind of explain that a little bit more, because you've been much closer to it than I have for sure, but I've always been touched by hearing you talk about it.
Yeah, that's where the beauty lies. That's where we get rejuvenated again, is when we see someone take control of their lives, and then there's the clash of, wait, you doing that by yourself, or what am I doing? And something simple, from something simple to something, a little bit more progressive. Something simple as people we support who needed help controlling the television, changing the channel. For some people who are nonverbal, you might not know necessarily what channels they are wanting to watch. And so you make an assumption and then you put the channel on and hope that everybody's happy, right? But when I give that technology, and this was cool, I gave the technology back to the people that were living in that particular setting, and train them to either control by way of a manual joystick or by way of voice, and programmed it only so that the technology only responds to them. All of a sudden, you start seeing them control the TV, and the staff are like, wait a second, what are you watching? That's my favorite show. And it could be something as gory as WWF, and people getting beat up and bloody, or something that's really like out of the box. And that really, and I got joy out of that. And also thinking about people we support who are families. We support people who have children. We support people who single parents, and they're trying to navigate, just like any other single parent. How do I take care of my kid? How do I meet their needs? How do I help them? And more importantly, and I'm so thankful that we introduced technology to those families very early on. And now while we're still in the posture of COVID, those families, those single moms and single dads, having the ability to still keep their child in pace with educational systems that went online all of a sudden. Before, they were used to dropping their kid off, the teacher would take care of everything, and then we would provide the assistance when they got to the home. However, now our technology and our remote support staff is coming in remote to assist that parent, to assist their child, to do the educational plans online. And that has created so much joy and gives that parent much more confidence about it. It's hard to be a parent for anybody, and it's hard to know if you're doing it right. And so, and then you add on the issue of having a disability yourself, it could get very difficult. But by having that technology to be there, to be present, to help that parent help a child, help their own child, you see the joy, and they've spoken nothing but, thank you so much. So we definitely celebrate along with them in those kinds of experiences. We got thousands of more stories. We're going to need like 14 more of these.
But that's awesome. We'll do that. And that resonates with me because my daughters are with me this summer, and one of them is taking summer classes. And like you said, as a parent, I'm really sensitive and cognizant to how do I support her so she can be as successful as possible. And most, if not all, parents want to do that, but may not necessarily know the best way to do that. And if they're also juggling work, there's extra challenges. So those are very real ways that we are coming alongside people to support them. Precious, with a couple of minutes remaining, so you talk about dreams and being a dream maker. What's your dream? Where do you want and hope and dream that St. John's will go relative to innovation and technology, either connected or apart?
Yeah, so I would say dream officer as opposed to a dream maker, right? So I'm facilitating the dreams. The person actually makes it happen. So, but where I would like to see us go is, and St. John's we're known for evolving as the community evolves. And as the community evolves, we step in and just, look around and say, where can we be of assistance? And technology is of the future, whether we like it or not, it is going into the future. I would love to see where people are living as independent as possible in their own homes, living in their own communities, and have the ability to live as independent as possible. I would like to see where we get a chance to have ways for our staff to gain new skills and professional development, where they are able to rise up from just being a person-by-person caregiver, but they learn how to support multiple people by way of technology. It's a way to elevate the direct support professionals and case managers and medical professionals in a way that we meet people's needs and help them live as independent as possible without being as invasive. So my dream is that we evolve even further than what we can see. Vision is very important to me. And the one thing I love about St. John's is that we are visionary people, very passionate visionary people. And what I can see, we're going very, very far. But I dream that we evolve beyond even that vision, that we get beyond it to the point that we're prepared and ready as the world comes up. So again, for us as a company, for us as far as technology, I also want to say I'm very proud of the work that we've been doing in our local jurisdictions, especially in the Tennessee group. They have really, really jumped on this enabling technology, and people are living their best lives. They'll be happy to tell you so. I'm excited about the work that we're doing there. That team has really wrapped around it, and we're really starting to expand even further. The Tennessee State has also been phenomenal in providing resources and supporting all of our efforts. And we couldn't do it without that community partnership. And now we're starting to see the same thing happen in DC and the relationships we're having there and starting to expand. So as we explore and create more partnerships into the future, I believe that we can be able to actualize any of those dreams.
Yeah, I love that. I think 3 years from now, I hope we're out at dinner celebrating the fact that we are not just on the kind of the bleeding edge of trying to learn how to use technology, but a solution, that more people see us as a solution for bringing technology into their lives in ways that help them live a better life, live their best life, and be as independent as possible. So you all are accomplishing so much. I mean, Precious and your team. Yeah, the Tennessee initiative has been tremendous. That state, various states are adopting this idea kind of at different paces. And one of the strengths of St. John's is we bring our regional experience in each environment. So what we're learning in Tennessee, we're applying in DC. What we're learning in DC, we're applying in Delaware, and vice versa. So it's part of us being a learning and innovative organization for sure. Well, Precious, I want to thank you so much. You inspire me on a daily basis, and you inspire so many people, and you push us all to be better for ourselves, but also for the people that ultimately we're serving and supporting. And so I thank you for that. And thank you for taking the time today to share your vision and your dreams with us.
Thank you so much, Alan. You're the best.